You want to keep a woman happy? Learn to say no.
And I mean, and that's just it, man. Like we men genuinely, and not all. You do got some of those that they really are just worthless, pathetic people. But for the most part, dude, a man does not want to be an a hole, man. He don't want to be rough around the edges. He don't want to be an a hole. He don't want to be ignorant, rude, and a jerk. Genuinely, most men don't want to have to do that and be that way. We don't. And we do that and gravitate to that because that is what's being presented from the woman's spirit, that that's what they want.
I would say it's a lot less of what they want, more so of what they respond favorably to.
There you go.
You know, I look at majority of the women in my life, and out of the women that I know in my life, they don't respond well to that. They so a lot of them have adopted predatory mindsets because the older that you get, the more it's about survival of the fittest. It's not about solid relationships and companionship. It's about what can you do for me right now. A lot of it is a leech to host relationship.
Mm.
You know, and these symbiotic relationships that people acquire over time is because they understand, even if they don't outwardly say it, they understand that time is ticking. Especially if that woman, like, and it is the thing too, right? Let's just take away all aspects of what a man brings to the table, what a man likes, what he cares about, and stuff like that. Let's just talk about this from a very realistic point of view. It takes a certain amount of money, X number of years old, adjusted for inflation, times X number of years worked to retire comfortably. Because there are so many women that are not in professions that pay very well. Some of them are like hair technicians, nail technicians, estheticians, whatever you want to call them. A lot of them are in certain fields
HR,
that. So what?
HR, casework,
They're,
stuff
they're
like that.
they're in a lot of fields to where the maximum payout is not great. And in my 20s and 30s, it may feel good, it may look good, it may be all of the above. The reality, however, is that, for instance, at my current pay grade, and I did this math with somebody, and I told them that if I worked just starting from January 1st of 2024 up until I'm eligible for retirement, if I just kept at the same trajectory that I'm at and I did nothing else, no room for advancement, no room for growth, I will at maximum acquire 2 point, I think what was it, 2.9 million over the course of the next 29 years, something along those lines.
Hmm.
That's not including the fact that, okay, well, only about 5% of that 2.9 million is going away to retirement savings, then whatever the pension is, and uh, whatever other little investments I may have on the side. But just bare bones, without having some additional plan put to the side, I'm in trouble. Because you think about it, I put up 5%, they put up 5%. So if you really wrap your mind around it, you just think to yourself again, 10%. We're not adjusting for inflation. We're not adjusting for the market performance because it's impossible to time the market.
And I think that's max, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's max.
So
annually.
So you think about it, 10 if they match me five and I put in five, what's actually happening at this point is this. 10% of my earnings is 290,000. There's very few places in the country that I can buy a home cash for 290,000. And we're talking about surviving off of this from 67 until whenever I die. That's the pot of money that I have to play with. If I stayed on the same track and same trajectory. And here's the news flash. I just smacked my mic. Here's the news flash. I make more than 70% of men in America. I'm in the top 30% of earners in America. And I'll retire broke if I don't do something else. If I don't keep climbing the ladder and keep moving up and keep going up the chain and keep getting further educated and keep making decisions that are going to take me somewhere else financially, if I don't continue to add on to my financial plan, if I don't cut my spending and make additional savings and learn how to adequately budget, if I don't do these things, I will starve.
And we haven't even added assets yet.
Not at all. So now, when you look at that specifically, 2.9 million ain't enough to retire off of. And that's the maximum payout between January 1st and January 1st, 29 years later. 2.9 million ain't enough. But then you tell me that I would have to survive off 10% of that. Ridiculous.
Yeah, you're going to blow through that so fast.
Yeah, so if I don't have solid investments on the side, if I don't have other avenues and other vehicles to turn in money, if I don't have a partner who's also been working that same amount of time as me that will be able to compound and add something additional to the pot, I'm doomed. So how do you think a woman, on the other hand of that, where majority of them are in professions that don't pay well, and we're talking about the educated ones. I'm not talking about the ones that are not. I'm talking about the educated ones. A great deal of them are in professions that don't pay well.
I know a lot of them is combating, inflation with, living together now and doing, polygamy, stuff like that. So not fantastic choices, but a choice.
I really think that, I won't say the polygamy part, I'm not necessarily a fan of that per se, but what I will say is that I do think that there is some reinventing of conventional wisdom that needs to be addressed and brought to the forefront. Number one, I feel as if group economics, shout out to Dr. Claude Anderson, but I do feel like group economics is highly essential and it's something that needs to be retaught. It needs to be something that's re-emphasized. I do believe that rather than me struggling to buy a house, you struggling to buy a house, and then we doing what we're doing, why don't we just go someplace and just rent a mansion?
Yeah, agreed.
You have your section, I have my section, somebody else had a section, and we all pay a portion.
I get a wing, and you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, I'm even fond of the whole compound type of situation where we just get a big lot and
just continue to add on to it.
Build on that. And you know what I'm saying? Your house and your family is on that side of the yard. My house, my family is on this side of the yard. And then everything's paid off. The only thing we got to do is come together and pay the taxes on the compound.
That's it.
And I mean, that's a fantastic move. But again, to your point, group economics needs to be retaught because what's being taught is Man makes money, he gains enough resources in pursuit of being able to provide for a family. A woman gains money, acquires resources in pursuit to be independent of a man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it's all falling to pieces. And that's why we can't seem to band together and work together personally, because it takes more than just men alone being able to work together. It takes all of us, women and men.
And everybody has to be on the court to understand that this isn't a me thing, it's a we thing.
It's a we thing, yes.
And in order for me to be even the most remotely successful, I have to put all of what I've thought that it was supposed to be to the side for the sake of the best benefit for everybody involved. But, more on that later. That's definitely a whole agenda in itself. But now,
back on the app, because I did find an article and we can get into it later, but I think that app is detrimental to what's going on now as far as the dating, why it's down. The romance level is down, is just tanking. And I can only speak to my community, saying, based on conversations that I've had with individuals, information that I'm receiving from friends, and speaking with neighbors, and hearing about their situations, and blah 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 blah. I have a lot of acquired information for me to make some type of qualified opinion on the matter.
Right.